ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. Reading from the book Krishna's Response. Release from Maya would mean a life of happiness. Overwhelmed with bliss, you would jump up and down in ecstasy and cry tears of love. It would mean an unlimited freedom where the word impossible is no longer in your vocabulary. There are many examples of people who have lived this free life. We hear in the scriptures of great saints who were lost in love. We can even see living examples of devotees today who chant with love. The Lord immediately responds to a person who turns to Him. He says, "It is my vow that if one only once sincerely surrenders unto me, saying, 'My dear Lord, from this day I am yours,' and prays to me for courage, then I shall immediately award courage to that person, and he will always remain safe from that time on." Quoted in says Chaitanya Charitamrita, Machilila 22.34. In the Adi Purana, Krishna tells Arjuna just how much he appreciates even those who chant his name carelessly. Oh Arjuna, listen attentively. When the living entity chants my name, whether out of devotion or indifference, then his name will remain forever in my heart. I will never forget such a soul. Ajamil is one such example of this. A wretched criminal, most of his life inadvertently, he chanted the Lord's name at the end of his sinful life. Although Ajamila only meant to call out to his son, who was also named Narayana, the Lord did not turn a deaf ear. Instead, he thought, "This person belongs to me. I will always protect him." If this is the Lord's attitude, then how much more will he remember a person who serves him and addresses him with devotion? When you worship the Lord through his holy name, he will immediately respond, "My dear, come on, you are eternally dear to me. Now you are turning your face to me. I am very glad." Where to start? We should make our prayers from wherever we honestly are on our journey. For example, a devotee might pray, "I know you and I have a relationship. I may not always feel it, but please don't take this personally. It's just my mind. I can't help that I am weak. Only you can help me." This sincere and humble turning to Krishna is open, frank, and free from the pretension of being advanced. That is all he wants. You could pray for courage to turn away from Maya. And if at this moment you just can't give up certain things, then pray that soon a day comes when you pray intensely for that courage. This actually works. Knowledge of Krishna. A devotee whose love for Krishna has not yet been born has to learn more about Krishna. Who is he? What does he like and dislike? What does he do? What does he especially favor? Who are his devotees? And so on. Developing a relationship with Krishna only really happens when you hear about him deeply and consistently. This is the only way to give the relationship a chance by hearing. And let's look at the powerful illustration of this from Srimad Bhagavatam. Rukmini Devi lived in a majestic palace of her father, Maharaja Bhishmaka. As a young girl, she regularly heard narrations of Krishna from Narada Muni when he visited her father. She always made sure to be there in the audience every time, just to hear about Krishna's beautiful form, mesmerizing pastimes, and exceptional qualities, including his tremendous generosity and kindness to his devotees. From early on, she decided that she would marry Krishna. No one else could be the one. When the time of her marriage arrived, Rukmini's father decided that Tisupala, the prince of one of the neighboring kingdoms, become her husband. The thought of such a thing was unbearable to her. She cried inside, "I only want Krishna as my husband." At that time, Rukmini was more than 15 years old, was no more than 15 years old. She wrote a love letter declaring, "I have heard about you, Krishna. I want to marry you. I didn't want to marry a so-called man made of blood and pus. I don't care for the material concussion. I want only you and will wait for a lifetime if that is what it takes for you to accept me. When Krishna received the letter, he smiled and instantly decided, this devotee surrendered to me. I will take urgent action. I will go to her rescue. When you have heard about Krishna for a consistent, prolonged time, you will also feel connected to him. If you feel your relationship with Krishna is at the moment abstract and theoretical, do the best thing to the counteract that passive pattern. Here I read about him as much as possible, especially connected to Srimad Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita.
You will stop, bro. Let it more
Okay,
time.
Prabhu, I'll stop here. Definitely, while starting the reading this book, this today's reading, I thought two stories when I read this. One was Ajamila, where we see him. He was a good man, but because of some unknown, because of a scenario, he just turned himself to that particular direction. Ajamila, again, when Yamaduta came to pick him up, he was calling his son Narayana, Narayana. And again, this was a story. This was mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Because he was calling Narayana, Yamadutas could not figure out why what had happened. When they went to Yamadharmaraja, and when they narrated the whole story, they could figure out what happened. So even in the last time, during his last days, he started calling his son name, his son whose name is Narayana, as Narayana, Narayana. The Vishnudutas came and took him. One thing what we see is we are all delusion in the Maya, a cloud called Maya, where some of us are, I can say, most of in the current material world are so deeply involved that they forget to even do chanting. However, this is not in the case of the Lord. The Lord definitely comes to a person who definitely calls him with his name, where he has his unlimited names. Lord doesn't have friends or enemies. Lord always loves everyone who chants his name or who at least thinks about him. That is how we see the Lord's attitude. One good thing that I can at least learn from this is it's better that we surrender ourselves, asking for help, courage, and also the protection. Definitely, it will be given, which we can see. Whether we are strong, weak, whether we're intelligent or not, doesn't matter. All we turn to the Lord is asking for help. Definitely, the Lord will come and help us out. A devotee who's, like as it mentioned here, whose love for Krishna has not there been born, but he still need to understand about the Lord and then develop a relationship. Instead of before understanding, developing a relationship is also important. And as a devotee continues to hear constantly, he will definitely have that a deep what do you say? He will have a good relationship by hearing, also by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And we also see the example of Rukmini Devi, a story taken from Srimad Bhagavatam. Just because Narada Mahamuni came and started telling about Krishna, Rukmini Devi started loving Lord Krishna. Despite of her father's choice, which stood by herself and wrote letter to Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna said, "Okay, now let me save this devotee who's surrendered to me, and let me rescue this devotee." Now, this is just one a small story from Srimad Bhagavatam. As we continue to hear more and more stories from Srimad Bhagavatam, we will totally get deeply connected with the Supreme Personality of Godhead.